Hi KW community, thank you so much for joining us again in our kitchen in store at Kitchen Warehouse. Today we are here with Tanina Holder, who's cookbook author and recipe developer, and she has kindly been testing some of our appliances out. Today she's going to be testing the Tefal Air Fryer Ultimate Fry Deluxe, and she is going to be cooking an amazing piece of pork. And I would like to welcome her to the stage now, and please ask questions. We'll be able to answer them at the end of the show. Thank you. Welcome to Nina.
Thanks, Jo.
Hi guys. I have had the Tefal fryer for a little while, and I've been playing around with some ideas, and of course the natural thing to do in an air fryer is a crispy pork belly, and a crispy pork belly to do traditionally is quite difficult. So to do it in an air fryer was a pleasure. It's really quick, really simple, and I'm going to quickly show you how to do it and how to get it ready. So the first thing you have to do is make sure it's super dry. Get a really, really good knife, and I'm using actually a Stanley knife, commercial kind of serious product here. And you just need to score the skin without going all the way through, score the rinds. So score it one way as many times as you like. You don't want to go right through to the meat, because that will dry the meat out when you cook it, and then bring it back the other way. You should never cut towards yourself like I'm doing. My husband have a fit. It should go this way. And you can do it as many times as you like. If you do it quite thin, it's actually quite dramatic looking when we open it up after it's been in the air fryer. Okay, so once you've done that, you get a little bit of baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder and some salt. I'm using pink salt flakes. So you just put that onto the skin. And you could actually do this up to 3-4 hours ahead of time and put it in a bag and really shake it around so that the baking powder really helps dry the skin out. The object is drying the skin. So I'm just going to, just a few pinches of that. Don't use baking soda, guys. Those emails aren't fun to get. Okay, and then what you need to do is rub it in to the skin. And the baking powder, if you leave that in the fridge for quite a while, open, uncovered, will totally dry out that skin, which gives you a much crispier end result. Do it again. The other thing we have to do is pour boiling water over it. After I talked to you about keeping it dry. So put a rack onto a tray or into the sink. You do this before the salting and the baking powder. I did it again. I'm in such a hurry. Okay, so boiling water straight on top of this, because it will help render out the fat, which makes it a lot nicer to eat and crunchier. Preferably a kettle, guys, but we're doing what we can here in the store. Okay, and you can see what happens with the skin. It starts to open up, and some of that fat will render out, and that's what you really want. At this point, take the rack away. Thanks. Sorry. All good? And then get your paper towel, and we'll do that all again. How about that? So just dry it really, really well. See, I've cut it too far there. It's gone too far. That knife is so awesome that I've cut straight through, but it'll be all right. Back to salting and baking powder, not baking soda.
So just to repeat again, what does the boiling water do for the salt and the baking powder?
So it just helps render out the fat a little bit, which helps you have a crispier skin when you've cooked it. The baking soda helps dry out the skin. You can do this with chicken as well, but if you do the wrong thing, it's inedible. So just don't get crazy on me. The salt, of course, is what we like to eat. It makes it really yummy. And I'm just going to put a bit more on. And then just rub that in so that it's going to dry out the skin for you. Actually, I'm going to preheat the Tefal air fryer. You need to preheat it for about 5 minutes. So we're going to go on 200. So we just check the temperature button here, and then over here onto the timer button. So I'm going to just add 5 minutes to that and start it. And then while that's preheating, we'll keep getting our pork ready. You then, now that you've done this, you're going to wet it again, but you're going to use vinegar. And the vinegar helps dry out stuff as well, believe it or not. So we're going to do this whole process again, but this time we're going to use vinegar instead of boiling water. And this is apple cider vinegar. You can use a flavoured vinegar. I wouldn't use balsamic. You need a white vinegar so that it looks, kind of nice when you're finished. You don't want it colouring the pork rind. Oh, wash my hands. And then also some oil. So just some extra virgin olive oil. Believe it or not, you need a little bit of oil just to help crisp up and brown the colour of the pork rind. And just rub that in too. And then just let that sit there. Normally you would have, done this over sort of a period. Let that soak in. Do it again, do it again. So maybe up to 3 times on the process. Now we're going to add more salt, and then we're ready to cook as soon as the Tefal's ready to cook.
Tanina, can you put too much salt on it? Is it a personal taste thing?
You can. Don't go crazy. But there's nothing worse than sort of not quite salty enough, because if you then salt it when you're trying to eat it, it doesn't really stick. So that's why I use salt flakes actually, because you can kind of see it and you know how much is on there. So, and we are going to serve it with a dipping sauce. Now look, normally a crispy pork belly is going to take a couple of hours in the oven, and you've got to muck around with it. You have to put it in on a low heat, and then you have to increase the heat at the end, and you've pretty well got to sit there and watch it because you don't want it to burn after all that work. And you've got to have liquid around it so it doesn't dry out and so on without touching the fat. It's a bit of a fiddle. I have a great recipe for the traditional way, and it takes like 3 hours, but it's a labour of love. So for this one to do in 25 minutes is kind of awesome, and it's that simple. So we're ready to go in. I'm just, I think this is ready. I think this is heated enough. So what we have here is the basket, and I'm just going to put the pork into that basket, and you can kind of squash it in because it will shrink a bit as we cook. So biggest piece possible that we can get in there. And now that's going to go in for 25 minutes and going to smell amazing. And we're just going to add thyme right here. And we're off and running. Okay, so in the meantime, we're going to make a quick dipping sauce, and we're going to serve this. You could serve this with Asian greens or any kind of green, but we're going to make sort of a spicy chili ginger dipping sauce. Just going to get this out of the way. So this sauce needs a saucepan. It needs an empty saucepan. Okay, so this is just so simple, and you can use this sauce for anything you feel like. So what we're going to do, straight into the saucepan. I've got some ginger and I'm going to use a microplane and just grate that in, or you can use a ginger grater. Need quite a bit. So chat amongst yourselves while I do this.
So what other things have you been cooking lately? And also when you were doing Search on the air fryer, the Tefal air fryer. What kind of recipes were tickling your fancy?
So we did some flatbreads, which was stunning, and we used Mediterranean style veggies, so zucchini and eggplant, like baby eggplant, and some red capsicum, and they were really delicious and really simple and quick. I was amazed actually, because they took 8 minutes. They ended up taking 8 minutes. I think we've given you the recipe for that. No, not
yes,
yet. Yeah. So they were really incredible and very impressive, and 8 minutes. So like you could have a whole production line going with the kids, and get them to make their own, or you could use that same recipe for pizza. And they cooked the veggies right through and everything in 8 minutes. It was incredible. That was really successful. And then of course the donuts are 3 minutes. A 3-minute donut's a bit awesome. And no one had any complaints about that one either. We just put a glaze on those, so they were awesome. The other things that I haven't tried that I want to try are things like bread, like bread buns and so on. And I think you could do some really amazing breads in there, because it's so quick. It will not dry the bread out, and it'll be very fluffy and lovely. Lots of ideas, just no time to play.
So people also do a lot of basic things like whole chickens and things like that in them.
So you could probably fit a whole chicken in there, I think, with some veggies as well on top, because it does cook equally, like it seems to circulate the air, which is the idea of the air fryer. Obviously chips, everyone tries chips. I did bake potatoes the other night, and they were probably as quick as an oven, but it was just the two of us, so it was really easy to just do lots of fillings and have a couple of really nice crispy baked potatoes, a bit of salt on the skin, and they were really nice and fluffy on the inside, crispy on the outside, which is how I like them. Okay, that'll do. You can keep going with that. And then a very, very large clove of garlic going in, but we'll just do that too. This might be a bit dangerous if I don't get it fine.
So how did you first get interested in food, Tanina?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, just eating it. So I've got 5 kids, and they're all married, they're all grown up. I have 6 grandkids, and I started obviously cooking for them. I actually used to like cooking before that, but once I realised I had to cook for that family every day, I thought I'm going to have some fun with it, and so that's pretty well where it started. I thought I'm going to be creative. If that's my only pursuit, in the day, I'm going to enjoy cooking dinner. So, the rest of it's a bit boring. You can't. Oh, that sounds good. You can't make laundry that much fun, but you can make food fun. So that's kind of where it all started for me, and I don't think there were any complaints. Luckily. They've all grown up to love cooking, which is awesome.
That's what I was going to ask. Are any of your kids into cooking as well?
Yeah, they all cook, so I think that's kind of fun. I really like that they're all into food. So just a chilli, and we won't use it all. We'll just use some of this chilli in the sauce, and then the sauce also has some coconut sugar, which you can get quite easily these days, and you can either get the palm sugar, which is in a lump, and grate that in, or I've just got the dried stuff, and then also some tamari or some soy. So up to you, what you decide. Tamari generally is tamari generally is gluten-free, but not always. So if you're looking for something gluten-free, just choose a gluten-free soy. And this recipe is gluten-free. And then I'll just move that out of the way. Can you guys see this okay? Yeah? We're not putting any fat in the sauce because there's lots of fat on the pork, and we have put a bit of oil on there, so there's no fat required. The coconut sugar going in, so about a tablespoon or something. And then the tamari, carefully measured. If you like sauce, make a double batch, is my suggestion. There we go. And then we're going to cook this down just because we want it to be a little bit sticky. So just on a medium heat. Just the right one. Yes. Hang on. And just until it sort of comes together. You could add a bit of acid to this as well. You could add in some lime juice or something similar to that. And believe it or not, you need a little bit of salt, because although the tamari is salty, it just helps lift that flavour. And we'll let that cook. And then the other thing we're going to do is serve this with a lot of herbs. So we're going to use a lot of coriander. If you don't like coriander, just use something else. And some spring onions all just sliced up. And then we suggest serving it with sort of Asian greens, steamed Asian greens, or something like that. You could use, you could make like a salsa, like a pineapple salsa would be really nice, you know, with chilies and coriander and all those flavours as well, and some grilled pineapple would be amazing. All sorts of things, whatever goes with pork, right? You could use an apple puree, actually. You could serve it on a bed of apple puree with some herbs on top as well, without the sauce. That's smelling really amazing. Let's just see if the shoppers know she's... And they'll all be over here hoping for a taste. You guys aren't going to get any today. The shoppers will all be after it.
So, with your cooking and things, do you have a favourite cuisine, or do you, the whole recipe testing that you do and things, does it mean you cover every cuisine?
I pretty much do, yeah. So I love Asian food. I love spicy food, and I kind of do my own thing with it. Like I do have some knowledge in, you know, Thai food especially perhaps, and maybe some Hokkien, like Chinese, authentic Chinese food. But basically I kind of take those flavours and I make them my own. I also love Mexican cuisine, so I do quite a lot of Mexican flavours. And you could look out for the Mexican tortilla soup on this channel as well. That's going to be interesting. Okay, so that's really nice and fragrant now and kind of cooking so it's sticky. So we'll turn that off. And then very, very interesting stuff watching me dice and slice some coriander, and I'm not going to put that in. Here we go. So this is the point in my classes where I ask for questions. So keep going, Joe. What kind of things? What else do you want to know?
Okay. It smells amazing in here. You know, the direction of the Tefal heading that way, I walked on that side of the camera and it smells incredible. Yes, it does. Yeah, let's have a look. Let's hang on, we'll get the close-up camera.
Yeah, you ready? Let me know. Yeah? So it's all separated out, the scores, and it's starting to brown. Whoa, that smells good. How good does that smell?
And so what else? I got the microphone, yes. So what else have you been cooking aside from with the air fryer? What have you been cooking lately? What are some faves?
Oh gee. What have I been doing? Actually, I'm doing something for another client, and it's actually Murray River Salt Flakes, and so we've been doing a book for them, and so we've been doing some really amazing things, desserts with salt, which is something I'm very good at as well as desserts. I love my desserts. So we did this incredible salty lime meringues, mini meringues, and we're just all a bit in love with those. So it's a pavlova, but it's got salt in it, in the meringue part, and it creates this beautiful centre that's just very, very chewy, and a big chewy marshmallow in the middle. Awesome. And then you serve it with lime curd and whipped cream, and it's a bit nice, that one. I enjoyed that one. And then we've been doing some home care or like healthcare products. So we did some natural toothpastes and bath salts and body scrubs and things like that. So that was kind of fun as well, which is something I don't normally do, because, you know, if you can't eat it, why bother?
So I'm going to put you on the spot with some of my questions I've been asking my cooks and chefs. Yep. Do you remember the first meal you cooked for your partner or other half? Yeah.
I did the very first date that I had with my husband. I cooked him dinner, and I did a big roast chicken and all the bits and pieces. 'Cause we actually went for a 10K run, which is what you do when you're, 20 something. And then I cooked dinner, yeah, so that's what I did. It was pretty boring, pretty average.
And so 5 kids, 6 grandkids later, he's hung around for some better food.
Yeah, he's hanging on. There's been so much food. I do a lot of chocolate dishes because I work with. I love working with chocolate, and I'm very passionate about chocolate. Authentic, like bean to bar chocolate, the real deal. I got to go to Ghana with Calibut, Australia, and see how it was grown and created and so on, and that was just an awesome experience. So, and I brew chocolate as well, like a drink, like a coffee. So yeah, I'm passionate about chocolate. That's probably my other passion, apart from cooking, is my chocolate knowledge, if you like. And of course, I've got a website with lots and lots of articles and so on, and I write articles for other magazines, and yeah.
So we need to give a shout out to your website as well.
Please, Tanina.com.
Tanina.com.
Yeah, easy peasy. Go and have a look, you'll be amazed. There's over 2,000 recipes on there, there's videos, I've got a YouTube channel, Tanina's Test Kitchen as well. And yeah, like you can learn just about anything, mostly with a Thermomix, but lots of things now without. And I have to say, since I put it out there about the air fryer, I've had lots and lots of comments, lots and lots of people hanging out to see this video. So there might be a lot more air fryer recipes showing up on my website.
Yes.
So
I'm going to ask a couple more questions and see how
Sure.
we go. So what's your first food memory, do you think? Do you remember, or a great food memory for Mother's Day, or for cooking with family?
So my father was an award-winning ice cream maker, and before I was born, unfortunately, I never got to experience his award-winning ice cream because he used to apparently bring home the mix and have it in the fridge as well as free ice cream for days. So, but I wasn't even born then. And I remember him. I grew up in Melbourne, and I remember him taking me into Dairy Queen in the city, and we had soft serve, which was like out of this world and new, and also licorice ice cream. So I've actually created a licorice ice cream recipe in his honour, and that's on my website. And I love licorice ice cream. And that first time that I had licorice ice cream, I was just like, I was a kid. Like, most kids don't even like licorice, let alone licorice ice cream. But I just loved it straight away. This inky black, delicious licorice ice cream. And that's the thing that I remember probably as the first real connection with food and with my dad and so on. He was also a really good. He's a Yorkshireman, so he used to make Yorkshire puddings, and we had a friendly kind of competition about his versus mine. But basically, my Yorkshire pudding recipe is kind of his. I nicked it completely, used all his tips. So if you ever do my Yorkshire pudding recipe, it's my dad's Yorkshire pudding recipe.
Okay, so how long have we got to go on that one?
I've only got 9 minutes, so
9 minutes. So
if you weren't chatting to me, you'd be off having a shower, come back to a roast dinner. How good is that?
So we're going to let it keep cooking, and we're going to come back to it. So
Sure. Okay, so we're nearly done on the pork. We've been waiting patiently. So here's the whole store. And the sauce is ready to go. We've got chilies to decorate or garnish, and then we're going to just put it on a platter and let you hear the crunch when I cut through it. Crispy pork belly from the air fryer. 25 minutes. There we go, and you just push the drawer open. I'll show you that. Pretty well perfect. Show you underneath as well. So underneath is also really, really beautiful and caramelized. And there we go, done. You can go in a little bit longer if you wanted to, but it will make the pork dry and kind of tough. So it's better to just stick to about 25 to 30 minutes, depending on how big a piece you end up getting. And then you just dress it with all the herbs. Thanks, Joan. Red chilies. Just for, you know, make it look like you can Instagram it. And then you've got your sauce there on the plate. And you can cut that into slices, or you can dice it into cubes. It's a really stunning starter. Or you can make it a roast like we talked about and have some potatoes and some other greens, some Asian greens, some rice maybe, whatever you like. So let's listen to the crackle. Just gonna do this end, I think. I don't know how good my microphone is, but listen to that. Can you hear that? Crackle. So it's just perfectly cooked. You should let it rest, to be honest, but we're kind of on a timeline here. And that's it. We are good to go. Perfect. Oh, yum. Okay. So, Tefal air fryer, 25 minutes. Yay.
Okay. Thank you
hungry?
so much. Yeah, I can smell that, and it looks, smells, and sounds amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. And also, we're about to do some donuts, but we'll do those separate to this. So we have a little bit of time just to taste that while it's hot, because it really does smell amazing. So thanks for joining us, and we will be live again shortly. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Tanina.
No worries.